Let's dive into my most memorable favorite standalone fantasies that I think should be on your TBR. And no matter whether you're into morally great characters, epic battles, humor, I've got books that's going to check all the boxes. And I want to know from you, what standalone fantasy do you like the most? A Woman of the Sword by Anna Smith Spark was unapologetically gritty and brutal, but not in the way that you think. If I had to describe this, I would say it's grim dark, but with poetical prose. Her writing style does take some getting used to. I found myself feeling a little frustrated while trying to get oriented, but once you get acclimated, I think you'll be able to appreciate the story for what it is. The story shines because she doesn't shy away from the darker aspects of humanity, especially with motherhood, because we often see mothers portrayed in stories as these selfless protectors. They're vicious but caring and warm, and this was not the experience of our main character here. This book blends some raw and visceral moments with deep introspection where you spend a lot of time in our main character's mind, and you may not always like what you hear. You'll spend a lot of time with our main character as she's grappling with the consequences of her choices and the fallout to her family. It's dark, it's intense. This is 100% character driven, by the way, but it's hauntingly beautiful. A Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez is another one of those books with a very disorientating writing style. Friend, I'm gonna let you know right now, for about the first 150 pages, you're not gonna know what the hell's going on, but promise me, just stick with it. And I think the payoff is so worth it. I'm a person who tends to kind of cycle between reading the book and listening to audio while I'm multitasking, but I couldn't do that with this book. I had to absolutely 100% focus because as soon as my mind started to wander, I started to lose the thread of what was going on. And it's very important for you to stay engaged with this story the whole way. I would describe this as literary fantasy. It blends magic, memory, family, all telling the story of a fractured empire. This book is for someone who loves their fantasy, rooted very deeply in introspection and emotion. It's definitely going to check those boxes for you, but it is going to take some brain power to focus on it. Worth it, in my opinion. The Maleficent Seven by Cameron Johnston is not on enough people's radar, and I wanted to convince you to read it now. This novel brings together seven of the most dangerous and morally great characters, each with their own unique ambitions and motivations to save a town that's probably better off without them. This is a plot-driven dark fantasy. It's got some very unique dark characters: necromancer, vampire, gargoyle of some kind, wizards, alchemists. There's so much happening in this story. It's pretty much plot driven, so you're not going to get a whole bunch of depth when it comes to the characters, but you're going to get some brutal battles, a little bit of laughs, and a fast-paced, action-filled plot. And I think that's what works best with this book. It just embraces chaos. So basically, adrenaline fueled fantasy with a dark sense of humor, check and check. And next up, we got to go to the lighter side with That Time I Got Drunk and Save a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. Listen, this is not the book that you're going to pick up for an intricate plot line, a whole bunch of fantasy, politics. This ain't that. This is a book that you want to pick up that makes you feel happy, giddy. It has a lot of banter. You're going to laugh. It's going to give you a little spice. It's not cozy by any means, but it shines at what it's intended to do, and that's make you smile. There are 3 books in the Mead Mishaps trilogy, but they are standalones, so you can absolutely read them in any order that you like. And lastly, I have to include Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is a duology, but as I understand it, this story stands alone and it's not necessary to read the next book. Now, Vicious for me flips the superhero genre on its head, where we're in a world where gaining superpowers isn't about heroism. It's pretty much about pain and betrayal. In Vicious, we follow 2 college frenemies whose experiments lead them to have superpowers. It spirals into a dangerous rivalry. This is another one that shines when it comes to morally complex characters. So those are my faves so far. I look forward to reading so many more standalone fantasies, but I want to know from you, what is your favorite?